Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and a game between TSL's Polt versus xSix's Sleep, Game 2 in a series. Polt spawning here as the blue Terran player on the top left-hand side of Belshire Beach Winter Edition. Meanwhile, xSix's Sleep spawning over here as the red Zerg and at what I'll call the 4 o'clock position. Only 2 spawning locations here, should be pretty interesting. For those of you guys who don't know the map, you have your starting base. The starting base is rather well protected. Drops are possible. From there, you have no ramp, but a natural choke point that leads to your natural expansion. The natural expansion is on a high ground, and then you have a rather wide ramp where bunkers are often placed or spine crawlers are often placed. From there, you have 2 options for your third base. You can try to expand a little bit away from your opponent down over here, or you can try to go ahead and expand into this location here. It is a little bit closer to your opponent and may may get harassed a little bit more easily. Most of the time, Zerg players do like to come off over here. Sometimes I see Terran players establish a quick planetary fortress here, as that is another area of map control and prevents one way for ground units to try to sneak by. So far, Polt is behind 1-0 in this series. We'll see what happens here in Game 2. In Game 1, Sleep was able to get up on 4 bases and really do a lot of harassment with Mutalisk and get a lot of damage. We'll see what Polt responds with. Polt so far going for another fast expansion, but this time waiting to do it after the barracks is completed. So it looks like it will be like a 16 fast expansion as a drone tries to sneak by, unable to do so. 1 supply depot and 1 barracks, enough to finish off the wall in, but the SCV now taking a bit of damage. This is looking really bad. That SCV may get taken out. Polt able to barely keep it alive as a new SCV coming off the mineral line in order to finish that barracks. SCV now in the act of scouting. No, it looks like it is going to be hiding here. The drone may come across it, and Sleep does see this, and it gets the kill. So Sleep with first blood at the 3-minute mark, getting an early SCV kill, and Polt cannot be happy about that. He tried to just save that SCV, unable to do so, and each SCV very critical in the early portion of the game, as it does start to snowball and you do not get nearly as strong of an economy going. Hatchery currently being built over here at the natural expansion location. We are going into an extractor pool. It looks like it was exactly that. Sleep opening up with the similar build that he did in Game 1 on Tal'Darim Altar. And we'll see how many Zerglings he pressures with. He's already getting 4 Zerglings. He is getting double Queens now and should be starting that metabolic boost in just a second. And interestingly enough, actually no, he delayed his gas. My apologies. He delayed his gas a little bit, so I think it was a pool extractor. So his gas was not really up and running yet. He may decide to pull off drones on gas. We'll see if that is the case. And yes, he is going to be pulling drones off of gas right as he gets to 100. No more harvesters on gas. SCV now backing off. We are going into a factory, so Polt is going to try to do a bit of harassment with this group of Hellions. And if it is any similar to Game 1, he'll train about 4 Hellions and then transition into siege tanks. The command center already completed, but Sleep already knows this. No upgrade to an orbital command as of yet, but Sleep with very well positioned overlords, as Polt is currently behind by about 12 food. 25 drones versus 20 SCVs. That can never be good, as we see more and more drones getting and ramping up into production. Interestingly enough though, Polt now doing a triple expand or double expand, getting up a second command center down here, and he may in fact establish this as a planetary fortress. It is rather early to try to make this a planetary fortress, but it would be in a key location that would keep track and keep sight of anything that tries to come in from this direction here. You couple that with 1 siege tank nearby and some missile turrets, and that is nearly indestructible in the early portion of the game. Hellions now making their way out, going to torch a Zergling or 2. Yes, the Zergling does go down, as a third base now being established by Sleep. Sleep doesn't know about this command center here, but already making sure that he does not fall behind. Meanwhile, Polt quickly comes across this hatchery. We are now already up to 6 Hellions, 2 more being trained as we go also into perhaps cloaked Banshees. And this would be a very, very different playstyle than we saw from Polt in Game 1. Game 1 was much more bio-intensive. Game 2 looks like Polt is trying to be much more aggressive with harassment, Banshees, and Hellions. So far, evolution chambers are being added, so double evolution chambers interestingly placed to make sure that Hellions are unable to truly do any run behind the mineral lines or a free run up the ramp. A Roach Warren also being added. 6 Hellions going to town on this hatchery. Most likely, Sleep will just cancel this hatchery here. He will end up losing the drone, but he is buying himself time to stay alive. A Zergling now running free and wild inside the main base. A Banshee does fly away. The Zergling may have spotted this as the hatchery now has been completed. This may be very, very bad news. How is this all going to matter as the Hellion now getting torched alongside this Spinecrawler? Hatchery now down to 200 hit points. This is not good. Is a Queen now making its way over? Zerglings now making their way over. Zerglings getting torched here, and somehow the hatchery survives. A Queen and now a Banshee battling it out. This is not good news at all. The Queen getting back on creep, now getting destroyed. The Spinecrawler is going to get taken down, and this hatchery will fall as well. The Spinecrawler does have 2 armor, so it does take reduced damage. But since the Spinecrawler cannot attack back, and Sleep now in trouble after losing this all-important base here. No, it looks like as though the Hellions and the Banshees now coming back at it once more. The Queen does get taken down. The Banshee may try to finish off more of those Zerglings. It looks as though, yes, the hatchery will get destroyed here. Now down to 123 hit points. The Queen may pop out here any second. Is the Queen going to make its way out? Yes, the Queen makes its way out. Polt not finishing off the hatchery, and Polt making a grave mistake here as the hatchery is still alive. The Hellions couldn't easily make their way over. Polt may just try to run in with these units. Yes, it looks as though the hatchery does finally go down. Broodlings exchanging. It looks as though the Hellions may be able to run away. No, one of them does get destroyed, as we see a 3rd orbital command is operational for Polt. Vikings now being added. Siege tanks, siege tech, stim pack. So the game is starting to transition. Polt now going heavier into bio play, getting up a 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th barracks. Meanwhile, a new hatchery being built over here by Sleep. Perhaps Sleep can train these into drones and start placing down some spine crawlers and some spore crawlers to protect this hatchery. Sleep is going to end up falling behind in the economic race. Harvester count shows 53 versus 52, but there are currently 6 mules in play, giving Polt a very strong 500 harvester advantage, or 500 income advantage, as those mules do mine very, very efficiently. Banshee now making a move. Looks as though a Viking now starting to do a bit of overlord hunting. The Zerglings now forced to retreat. Sleep does have a macro hatch, and we'll see what the strategy will be. We are going into 2-2 upgrades for the Zerglings. Meanwhile, all Polt is doing is really macroing up a large army and hoping that the macro will carry him through the rest of the game. Creep Tumors are doing another move out. Banshee going to town on this hatchery. The hatchery already down to 1,000 hit points about. A new Queen could be added. Queens now making their way over. The Queens do get a little bit of damage here, perhaps adding in some Creep Tumors, as 3 Queens are on the far side of the map. And now we see Sleep establishing up his 4th base. So far, Polt now finally lifting off with the orbital command. Will be landing it there. Vikings still doing its patrols, and Banshees now retreating. Harvester count still very, very even. Sleep opting to go into an infestation pit much earlier this game than in the last. If he's able to get off some fungal growths on these Marines, that would be a huge, huge benefactor, as those Zerglings will then be able to surround and pick apart those lower hit point Marines. Siege tanks now sieging. Zerglings, where are they going to go? The Zerglings have armor upgrades, and the siege tanks do not have weapons upgrade just quite yet. So it will be 2 shots before a Zergling does go down. Zerglings are all being added here. Is it going to be enough The Marines are not upgraded yet. The timing and the window of opportunity to attack is slowly closing, though. Nope, 2-2 upgrades going to finish just as 1-1 upgrades complete. And if Sleep attacks this army, especially when they do not have combat shield and not that many medevacs, perhaps this will be enough. Banshees now once again trying to take down another hatchery here. Zerglings joining in, and it doesn't look like any queens are making their way over yet. Zerglings may try to do a bit of a flank here. Polt trying to establish more territory. We'll see whether or not this is going to work, as we now have an attack on both sides. Zerglings coming in, surrounding the Marines. Siege tanks do go down. One siege tank down. Second siege tank goes down as the Zerglings now trying to swarm in again. However, too much ground needs to be covered. Another siege tank does go down over here. Zerglings now going after SCVs. The Zerglings backing away. More Marines finally arriving to the party and finishing off the Zerglings. But I don't believe Sleep really did that much damage. He was perhaps a little bit too spread. Polt had plenty of territory to work with. There was some siege tanks and Marines here, siege tanks and Marines here. If Sleep had perhaps focused his attack or knew what was here, if there wasn't a planetary fortress, he could have taken down the Zerglings, taken down the siege tanks, and actually did some economic damage to the economy line of Polt. Polt now with a slight harvester advantage, 5 SCVs plus the addition of 3 mules will help him out. Sleep, not bad. 63 drones with 20 larvae now ready to go, and now cranking up production, getting 15 Zerglings, 15 pairs of Zerglings, and 5 infestors trained. The Zerglings are upgraded 2-2. We are now going into 3-2 upgrades, as the infestors are going to make a big impact on this bio army if they're able to find it. 4 siege tanks are on the field, 1 or 2 medevacs, see a sea of Zerglings, and we'll see whether or not this drop will be successful. Meanwhile, Zerglings going up against here. Infestors getting off a nice fungal growth. Another fungal growth could be coming in. There's another fungal growth. I believe it is just going to be chain fungal growth on those medevacs. Meanwhile, 2 more medevacs coming in inside the main base. I do not believe Sleep was actually paying attention, as now Overlords are going to get destroyed. More units need to run back over. Zerglings are on creep. They will be able to get over in just a second, and now key buildings may get taken down. Drones are now getting destroyed. Zerglings getting surrounded. The Queens going after the medevacs, picking up the units. Are the medevacs going to go down? No. 2 low hit point medevacs as opposed to 1 dead medevac allows for a quick escape, as Sleep now going to pick up all of those units, place them back down, and heal up. Only 6 worker kills versus 3. So Polt really did not deal that much damage, as we are now going into the Catonis plating on those Ultralists. Ultralists going to have a very easy time against the Marines. We'll see how they fare against the siege tanks, as now Polt really cranking up his siege tank production, getting up 8 total siege tanks now. Those siege tanks going to be very powerful and simply destroy any infestor before it really gets within range. Command center are going to be in a little bit of trouble, but a siege tank able to push that back. Siege tank up on the high ground, protecting those Marines and those Marauders. Sleep also looking to take up another expansion over here on the bottom left. Zerglings now surrounding, able to get force of cancellation on the command center. You can see that there are burrowed Zerglings here and here, preventing any expansion unless a scanner sweep or Raven is trained. Zerglings coming to town and finishing off many of those units. The medevac now down. Zerglings trying to finish off this bio ball here. There's a fungal growth, and now many Marines will get finished off as the Ultralists perhaps looking to charge back in. A little bit of a dance here, back and forth. Polt is up by 45 food, as he's also up by about 9 drones. There is 26 larvae, but Sleep does not have the resources to really dump into anything as of yet. Marine going to run up the ramp, catch the hatchery as it is being built, and now try to shut it down. Somehow Polt still staying in this game, even though he is just ahead in bases, or behind in bases, excuse me, by 1. Siege tanks now trying to finish off the rest of those Zerglings. That siege tank taking a lot of collateral damage here, as the Ultralists and the Banelings find their target, and the Ultralists finish that off. Sleep has a decent sized army. Ultralists count up to 8, but dealing with those Banshees may be a problem if there are any more Banshees on the field. No more Banshees on the field. Not an issue. 1 Marine attempting to finish off this hatchery here. It looks like it will be successful, but the TSL's Polt now up to 12 siege tanks. And these tanks are going to be able to destroy much of that Zerg army before it gets within range. Ultralisk now getting in position. Where are these Banelings and these Ultralisks going to go? There is no real good flank whatsoever. Too many terrain to deal with, and you cannot attack them head on. Marines and Marauders now pushing in. Banelings going to try to find their target. The Banelings going to get destroyed. No, did not reveal themselves to the siege tanks, as Sleep is in trouble. Going to lose an expansion here. Banelings trying to find their target. A fungal growth does hit some of those units as the Ultralists now try to go to town onto those siege tanks. Siege tanks now fighting back. Infestors now making their way forward, but no, the Infestors get detonated and destroyed by those siege tanks well before they get within casting range. New command center now being added. Polt was able to land that one command center there. A new command center being built. And Polt now sitting on a 50 food advantage, also with a 10 harvester advantage, cruising into the late game with 2-0 upgraded siege tanks, and I believe a fully upgraded, will be fully upgraded Marines right there. So soon to be 3-0 siege tanks and Thors with fully upgraded Marines and Marauders. This Marine still attempting to destroy the hatchery. One Marine working alone. Not the best time, as that hatchery was nearly destroyed, down to 1600 or 600 hit points. Zerglings now attempting to go to town on the SCVs. SCVs are dwindling in number. SCVs able to mineral path back as the Marines and Marauders stim and able to recover that expansion. Siege tanks now once again pushing forward. Marines and Marauders going to destroy some Zerglings and now push in at this hatchery. Hatchery will get destroyed very easily. Down it goes. Ultralisk Infestors unable to get off a fungal growth, and that was huge. If a fungal growth hit that bio ball there along with the Metavacs, this would be a completely different game, as we're now even going into autosec tracking and the Terran building armor. Planetary Fortress will have 5 armor plus a range of 7 on that Ibicus cannon, being able to one-shot and perhaps hit a Zergling twice before it gets within combat range. Metavacs on the move again. 2 Metavacs look to perhaps do a drop here. We'll see if it will be successful. No, going to be doing a drop straight inside the main base again. That is where all the key tech buildings are right now. It looks as though the Ultralists are trying to get over there in a hurry. The Marines and Marauders just simply going to attack in. Perhaps taking down the Vespene Geyser very easily. And now trying to go after the Infestation Pit. No, going after the Ultralists. And the Ultralists are getting choked up on themselves, unable to really reach their target. You can see that the Ultralists are bugging out as a large attack now attacking the front door. Broodlords have arrived, but really not enough to really fight back this army. More and more fungal growth happening, but Polt gets the victory as xSix's Sleep is forced to say GG. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed Game 2.